In this video, you will learn how to create an AI assistant that can listen to your voice, process commands using OpenAI, and respond intelligently, all using Python. So let's create a new project in PyCharm and let's dive into the coding part. So I've already created a new project called AI Voice Assistant Demo. And what we can do is we can create a new Python file called assistant. And before we begin coding, we actually need to install some of the libraries which are needed for the purpose of this video. And since we're going to do speech recognition and then text to speech, we need to install a few libraries before we can actually start coding. So let's go ahead and do that. So what we need to install is basically we need to install a library called pyttsx3. So this library is used to translate text into speech. So you can pass it any text and it's going to convert that to speech. And we need to install OpenAI as well because we're going to query OpenAI to basically get some useful information back. And we also need to install PyAudio. So PyAudio is needed for basically recording the speech that we provide using the microphone. So when we record our speech, then we create audio files. And yeah, so let's install these three libraries, and then we probably need to install one more library, but then I will explain what we need to do once this is finished. Okay, so once the installation has completed, then we can move on to installing the speech recognition library. So let's go ahead and do that. So we want to install a specific version of the library, and this is because we can use some free credits without having to pay for anything. So basically the speech recognition library is going to get our voice as an input, and then it's going to translate this into text. So you can pay if you want to use this, but yeah, so for the purpose of this exercise, I want to show you how you can utilize some free resources, and I will also explain how to use Whisper, which is the OpenAI model that transcribes video or audio files. So basically it takes them as an input and then it translates the audio into text. But yeah, we can touch on that later on. So let's install this library. And yeah, so now we have all the libraries that we need and we can start coding. So let's just import some of the libraries that we're going to need. And yeah, we can start the actual coding. So let's see, for some reason this library wasn't installed, but yeah, you can just highlight it and then click on install packages. So we also want to import the speech recognition library. And yeah, so now we can start the actual coding. So we want to basically make an integration with OpenAI. So we can go back and open the platform.openai.com website, and we can copy this snippet of code, which is very useful, and it's used for establishing connection to OpenAI. Now we can go back, and yeah, we can wrap this into a function which we can call get AI response. Then we can pass the prompt. So let's call this a response. And yeah, so now we need to get the response back basically. So we want to use GPT-4o mini. And yeah, so in here we want to pass the prompt. So we want to put this outside, and yeah, we need to enter our API key. So let's do that. So this is my API key. You can use your own API key. And yeah, so that's the first function that we have just defined. So now what we can do is we can define a function called listen, and then what this function is going to do is it's going to take our voice as an input, and it will basically perform all the processing for us. So let's do that. So we've already imported the microphone, and yeah, so what this is doing is basically it's going to start our microphone on the laptop or computer or whatever device you're using, and it's going to basically wait until you actually provide some voice input. So let's just basically add some settings to the recognizer just to make sure that it ignores any kind of noise in the background. And then we can actually listen for the voice and save our voice commands into an audio file. And then this audio file will then be used for processing. So yeah, so we can basically, once we have the audio file, then we can use the recognizer to transcribe the audio file and extract the text from it. So how do we do that? We can use a function called recognize Google. So recognize Google provides up to 50 API requests per day for free, and you don't need to pay anything for it. And instead, what you can do is if you have like a paid version of OpenAI, then you can use the Whisper model to basically extract the text from the audio file. But yeah, I can discuss this later on. And yeah, so this function takes the audio file as an input. And what we can do is we can just print the text just to make sure that it correctly transcribes the file. So let's do that. And we want to return the text because we want to basically use the text in another function later on. So let's just handle this exception. So this exception will be raised when basically we don't say anything, or if it catches any um, noise or anything that it doesn't understand how to process. All right, so we have defined this function, and we want to define another function which is called speak, and then this function will be basically used for translating our text into speech. So how do we do this? So we've already installed this library, And yeah, so it's completely free to use, so you can pass any text to it, and then it's going to convert that into speech. So let's just call the engine, then click on say, and then we need to pass the text. And once we do that, then we need to say run and wait. And yeah, so let's see. So we need to define maybe two more functions. One of them will be the main function. So the main function will be running continuously, and then it will be listening for our basically microphone, so we can say something and then it's going to take this text as an input or this audio file as an input and then do the processing. So we can call the listen function, and if the listen function returns any text, then we can actually do something with that. So we can add some exit conditions. So let's say if we mention the word exit or stop, then we should probably terminate this script. So let's do this. So we can print some text, and we can also call the speak function so that we get some response back. So let's do this, and finally we need to exit. And yeah, so apart from that, we need to define a function called execute command. So what this is going to do is basically once the listen function returns the text that was processed when we actually said something, then we want to pass this text to this function execute command. And what this function is going to do is it's basically going to query ChatGPT and return some data back or some text back. So let's do this, execute command, then we do some, then basically pass one argument. And what we can do is say, for example, we can have one command which will be used for searching for things on Google. So how do we do this? So we can say if search Google for is in the command. So basically, if we set the words search Google for, then we're going to hit this command. And yeah, so what we want to do in this case is we want to basically make a query and then ask Google to basically search for the term that was provided. So let's do this. So we just want to replace the contents. So we want to remove search Google for from the text. Search Google for, and yeah, because we don't want Google to have this basically this set of words, and we also want to basically remove any white space that we can have. And finally, we want to open the web browser, and we want to perform a query. So what we can do is we can say google.com. Actually, let's do www, and yeah, so then we can do / search, and then we can pass the query. So what this is going to do is it's basically going to open your web browser, and then it's going to enter this text for you. And if we don't have search for Google for in the commands, then what we can do is, in this case, we can query ChatGPT. So let's do this. And when we get the AI response, it's going to be basically text, and basically what we want to do is we want to translate this text into speech so that the user can actually hear the information that we got back. And yeah, so okay, so I think we're missing the OpenAI package, so let's install this. Okay, so the OpenAI package was installed successfully. And yeah, I think this is pretty much all the functions that we need. So we have a function called get AI response. It's responsible for basically taking the user prompt as an input and then sending that to OpenAI and getting the response back from OpenAI. Then we have a function called listen. So the listen function is going to start our microphone and then wait for us to say something. Once it receives some input, some voice input, then it's going to save this voice input into an audio file. And then this audio file will then be transcribed using the Google API. And this function is going to return the text from the audio file. And finally, we just return this text. We have a function called speak. So the speak function takes one input, which is text, and what it's doing is basically is just converting this text into speech, and we're going to hear this very soon. And we have a function called execute command, and it takes one argument as an input. So if the command contains the words search Google for, then we're going to search Google for this text. Otherwise, we're going to query OpenAI. And once we get a response back from OpenAI, then we're going to convert that into speech. And this is the main function that will be used to run the script. And yeah, so let's go ahead and actually test this and see how it works. And yeah, so now we can basically run this script. So let's go ahead and do this. So you can see it's listening for our voice input.
Sounds like you're referring to a voice recognition feature or application that listens for voice input. How can I assist you further with that? Are you looking for information on how it works, how to use it, or something else?
Who are you?
I am an AI language model created by OpenAI, designed to assist with a range of questions and provide information on various topics. How can I help you today?
Who is Donald Trump?
Donald Trump is an American businessman, television personality, and politician who served as the 45th President of the United States from the 20th of January, 2017, to the 20th of January, 2021. Before his presidency, he was known for his career in real estate.
Exit.
Goodbye.
So we have just built an AI voice assistant, which you can use and take that to the next level. So this voice assistant can be used for any kind of task that you might want to accomplish. So basically, just to give you some applications, you can use the voice assistant to set reminders, to book appointments, control your computer, and basically make bookings or anything that you can think of. And just to go back to the coding part, so I mentioned that in this case, we're using the Google's API to transcribe videos into text. So basically, if you want to productionize this system, you can't really use the Google's API unless you basically pay for it because the Google's API provides up to 50 requests per day, and you can basically send the 50 requests, transcribe the videos, get the text back, but then that's where it ends. And yeah, so I can show you basically how to write a function which is going to send a request to Whisper. So Whisper is the OpenAI's model, which is used for transcribing audio and video files into text. And yeah, so let's basically define this function, and I will tell you, basically I will show you how to write it and how to use it. So basically what we want to do is we need to provide the audio file as an input, and then we want to create a byte string. So the audio file contains WAV data. So actually it's not date but data, and we want to give some name to this file because the Whisper model expects each of the files that you pass to it to have some names. So we can just call it samplefile.wav, and then we actually do the transcription by calling the OpenAI client, and then we say audio transcriptions create, and in the model section what we need to say is we want to use the Whisper 1 model, and then the file will be the byte string. So once this basically executes, then what we need to do is basically we need to return the text from it. And yeah, so how can we change the code so that we can use this new function? So if we just copy the function and go to the listen function, you can see here on line 42 we're using the recognizer to basically transcribe our audio file into text. So what we can do in this case is we can just comment out this function, and then we can say text equals get transcription, and then we pass the audio file. And then by doing this, we're no longer going to use the Google's API, and we will start using the Whisper model from OpenAI. So if you want to productionize this, then you can just use OpenAI and two of its models. So Whisper 1 to transcribe the videos into text, and then GPT-4o Mini to actually get some useful information. And yeah, so that's pretty much the end of the video. So if you found the video useful, please like it and subscribe to the channel. If you want to get full access to the code behind this video, you can sign up to my school community. The link should be down below in the description. It's completely free, so you can join at any time you want. And yeah, thank you very much for your time, and see you in the next one.